No.
Yes, sir.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Welcome to episode 3 of Papu.
Yeah, tell me something. What's the deal with this jacket and all? You know you're in Chennai, right?
Yeah, but at least, see, for us, winters is when we're inside AC rooms. Summers is
Oh,
when we go to the hall. So that's our winter and summer.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
happening?
All good. How are
What?
you? How are you? How's the week been?
Week's been pretty decent. Pretty decent. Yeah. Little busy as usual. Not doing much, but still keeping myself busy.
Yeah, but a lot of news in the world of cricket as well. So without
Quite a bit.
without delay, let's get started.
Sure.
Three teams,
Yeah.
three TC. That's all I can tell you.
Dude, I mean, it's amazing, right? I don't think there are enough. I mean, there are more formats of our sport now than the brands of shampoos that is available at a store.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at times. I mean, obviously there are three major ones: that T20, 50, and Test matches. Now you have T10, then you have the 100,
100. Yeah.
and then you have this BBL, which still is T20, but with the new rules and all that, that sounds like a different format altogether. And then obviously the new one, the 3T. God, you know what? I know we were discussing about it yesterday, and it took me good 24 hours. Yeah, somebody mentioned Hong Kong Super Sixes as well. Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's there too. And it took me actually good time to realize what the rules are for 3T.
I mean, it's still quite ambiguous. So what they're saying is, so obviously, see, they want the three teams, the order in which they're going to be bat cannot be decided by a toss. Obviously, toss go to
Yeah.
so it's going to be decided by a draw. So I'm guessing. So I will bowl to you first, and then you bat, and then the team which is
I'll
in the
tell you
dugout.
what. It's like that. A, B, C, right? So let's say A is batting first. Okay. Then B is bowling. From B bowling, you go to the dugout and then you come back to bat. So it is batting, bowling, dugout. All right. So A is batting, then A is bowling, and then A is sitting out.
Yeah.
So same if B is bowling first, then it is sitting out in the second thing, and in the third they are batting, right?
Yeah,
And
so-
it is not one team against other; it is one team against the other two.
Correct.
So there is
And-
goals and bronze.
Correct. And the first half, second half differentiation is that. So first half, it's obviously decided by the draw. The second half, the order in which you bat will be decided by the amount you score in the first half. So you could actually get really unlucky. Say you're bowling third and you score the least, or some. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
Yeah, so it is like that. So total, it is a 38, 30, Jesus, 18, 36 over affair. 18 overs first half, 18 overs second half. 18 overs of first half is divided into three groups of 6. So A, suppose is batting first, so he'll bat first for 6 overs, then he'll bowl for 6 overs, and then he's sitting out for 6 overs.
Correct.
And then
Correct.
after first half, whoever scores the highest will bat first, and so on and so forth. The interesting part is there are only 8 people in a team. So fielders, will there be only 6 fielders on the field? Or there'll be fielding wise, there'll be 9. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so see, ideally, to make it a level playing field for the bowlers, maybe what you could do is the third team can lend a couple of fielders.
Dude, I don't know how they're planning this, but it sounds a little confusing to me.
Yeah,
as I mentioned.
and I'll tell you, see, I think at least one interesting part is, so this will probably be the only form of cricket apart from gully cricket. I don't think even it is allowed in gully cricket where you can bat without a partner.
Oh yes, no, it's allowed. I've played those gully cricket matches where, as a last batsman, you can't take one run. Obviously, you'll have to come back on strike basically. So minimum is 2 runs, and yeah, I mean that's part of gully cricket. Absolutely yes, part of gully cricket where in the last batsman will bat. But will there be only 6 taking the field, as in rather 8 taking the field?
Yeah, that becomes that becomes really hard on the fielders unless you're playing in smaller grounds like Hong Kong Super Sixes, right? Hong Kong Super Sixes, they used to play in, if I'm not wrong, they used to play in football fields at some point of time.
Yeah.
So unless you're playing in a smaller surface, fielding with six becomes really, really difficult. So,
But I think that they have announced the venue. It seems they have announced the venue.
we'll have to check it. We'll have to check it out. I hope
It's on the 26th of June, right?
Yeah, 28th if I'm not wrong.
28th of June. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so that's interesting. I mean, we'll have to see how that pans out. The three team cricket. I mean, geez, that's interesting. Can you think of any others? Or it's at Sport Park. All right.
no, there is no sport which involves three teams battling out at the same time.
There is no team sport. Can you think of any team sport?
I can think of one event, but you can't call it a sport.
What is that?
WWE, where you play a fatal four-way tag team match.
Oh, then you're talking about doubles in tennis and all that. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
doubles.
but even doubles in tennis also, it's two teams taking on each other.
Yeah,
right?
two teams. There's no. Yeah, so even in a tag team, there are two teams, right? So I don't know whether there is anything like that where it's like athletics where there are 8 competitors and also there are no winners and all that. There's like a gold medalist, silver, and a bronze medalist. It's like a Olympics or whatever. I don't know. Is that, I don't know. Maybe that is something that has been on their mind or Smithy's mind when they planned this. I mean, a format of cricket which could be introduced in Olympics, because 36 overs with all the breaks and everything else should be as long as, let's say, 3 hours.
T20. It'll be a little longer than T20 because you have 4 breaks.
Yeah.
You have a lot of breaks as well. But
So
the flip side of it, I think the thought process behind this might be because South Africa, if you look at their major sport, they have rugby is their primary sport. They play soccer, but and both of these are contact sports.
Field hockey.
Yeah. So all of these are high contact sports. So maybe they wanted to bring something together, and then, like, if not now, what else is the best time to experiment? So I'm guessing that must be the thought process behind this. But yeah, the cons, that is the pro. But the cons of it is, cricket is already watched only by a very few. It's only watched by 15, 20 countries in the world, or probably less than that. So when you're trying to expand the sport, why introduce another new format and then confuse the new viewers?
Yeah, that's and as it is, I mean, cricket is a little complicated sport in terms of rules and all that. And I think we've mentioned this before here as well. I mean, it can be a little complicated. And why do you want to make it more complicated with, 3 teams playing at the same time? And also, you've actually brought it down to 12 overs a side. Right? So it is down to 12 overs a side. And that 6 overs, I mean, divided into 2 innings also. 6 overs, 2 innings of 6 overs. And then the interesting part is, I understand you have only 8, out of which 4 of them are bowlers. And so you only technically have 4 or 5 batsmen.
And 3 overs each for a bowler.
Yeah, and
maximum of 3 overs. Yeah.
Maximum. So it still follow that, right? 5 bowlers, 2 each, and all that, and 2 bowlers would be bowling free. So I mean, it's a little more complicated, and you're also bringing it down to a smaller version. See, the middle order is gone. There is nothing called middle order anymore.
Yeah. It's very hard. It's very hard to. You can just group them as batsmen and bowlers. And that's the best level of grouping that you can do.
And when you think about it, if this becomes popular and they actually take this to the next level and make it, I mean, this is a one-off event. But then, I mean, you actually fundamentally messing around with the sport. At various levels. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, I'm surely going to watch it. There's no 2 ways about it. I'm going to watch it if it's available. I don't know whether it'll be available or not.
It should be. I think it's being aired on Star have got the rights, so they're doing it on English. So they'll be back to a familiar ground soon.
No Hindi?
I'm guessing Hindi is also being planned.
Oh,
You
okay.
you will get a call from my desk soon. Don't worry. Yeah, yeah. So the thing is, I was talking to a couple of other people. So one area where this thing could have actually worked is, if you remember in 2016, they had an All Stars match in USA when they played cricket in a baseball ground where like Viru was mercilessly hitting all the veteran bowlers because the small ground. Maybe this concept could have worked with your former greats and veterans, like guys like you coming out and then playing. I think it could have.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes more sense, but not me. But yeah, makes more sense. Yeah, I wasn't good enough when I was practicing 4 hours a day, but I don't know what will happen now. But having said that, yeah, I mean, listen, this is it's too early. Remember T20 when it first came in as well, and everyone was like, T20, it's not serious cricket and all that jazz, right? And look where we are with T20 now. So I mean, I won't completely rule this out. You never know,
Yeah.
but as a format. But if you ask me, I don't know. I mean, what's the purpose behind it? What's the whole idea? Is there a bigger picture, or they just wanted something a little different? Because I can understand, like all of us, it's a tough time for everyone around the world. So, something that gets you excited, I mean, at least from now till when the match happens, and also after the match happens, there'll be something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Something apart from whatever we are talking about generally right now.
Yeah.
Negative.
I don't know how much. I know how much you remember these. Do you remember match cricket? The concept that Martin Crowe came up with.
Yeah.
So one of the things that was he had one of the biggest probably differentiation was the number of stumps.
Yeah.
There were 4 stumps. So
4 stumps.
yeah,
I mean, it's fine. I guess it's fine. We just have to wait and watch as far as this is concerned. But the other important thing is that if you fundamentally think about it, is that everyone's trying to do something different and have their own stamp on it. You know what I'm saying? Like TCB's gone with 100, PBL is going with their own format of T20. South Africa's come up with this 3T cricket. I mean, idea is fundamentally everyone's trying to find something of their own, or they can call as it their own. And if that helps the sport, because end of the day, it still is a bat and ball sport. You still have a batsman and a bowler and fielders and all that. Whatever you still have that. So if that helps, I mean, if it helps the spread of the sport itself, because again, the fundamentals in terms of you still will be you still have a cover drive, you'll still have an outswing or an off spinner or a leg spinner. I mean, those things will stay, right? So as long as those are still around, I think whatever makes it popular, I guess. I think there are a couple of questions there if you want to take those.
So one of them is actually, so there are a couple who are saying like we'll take any cricket to watch right now. That doesn't matter. And one is very supportive of 3T, saying it's an innovation. They're actually giving some credit to CSA for coming up with the concept.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, and who's that? I mean, let's also try and name.
So the first question was Vignesh. The second one was Kannappa.
Right. Adhitya, I think there's a fair point. Like I said before, and we've about this, that you don't know what format becomes popular, right? T20 when it was introduced. I mean, nobody really gave it that kind of a serious thought, and it's become very, very serious now. So I think when you end of the day, there are two aspects. You've got to remember one thing, that one is the test match cricket, which is like the bedrock or the foundation of the sport. But on this, having said that, it is not a commercially viable format, right? So we have to understand that this needs to be somehow subsidized. For that, you need a format which is popular and which is commercially viable. For test match to keep happening the way it is, that is something that we have to realize and understand. And if any of these formats will help the sustenance of test match cricket and the growth of test match cricket, I think I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it.
Yeah, so just moving on to the next thing, the BBL thing. We briefly touched upon it
Yeah,
because the news had just come out, and then we couldn't elaborate on it. So
yeah,
the thing is, there are a couple of things which could actually make the game strategically more interesting. I
yeah,
mean, I understand it's a difference. So, for example, breaking up the power play concept into breaking up the power play into two.
yeah,
So we were talking to Hogg yesterday, Brad Hogg yesterday. So he was of the
yeah.
opinion that it could actually help bowlers plan better. It could be more strategic, and he had a very interesting take on substitutions.
Mhm.
So as per the new proposed changes, it says substitutions are allowed within a specified point of the game.
That's the
So
first 10 overs, isn't it?
sorry.
The first 10 overs, isn't it?
That's what they've not said it. They've not announced the time frame yet. But that could actually energize the bowler. For example, you don't replace the batsman because he's not doing well. You don't replace the bowler because he's got hit for an over. But have as many substitutes as you want. For example, your Malinga bowl at full pace at 140, 145 for 1 over. Go back inside, sit, come back, give one. So this could be interesting, right?
It could be interesting, but you know that 4-2 split of the power
Mm-hmm.
play. I don't know whether I agree with that or not. I mean, and that depends on the bowling the batting unit, right? That also depends on the batting unit. So you are pushing. I mean, I don't know whether that stuff makes sense or not. If you give it to the bowling side, yes, maybe I would go with that. You know what? Those 2 overs, the bowling side decides whenever they want to take those 2 overs, right? So then you're giving something to the bowler. You still giving them the batsman 6 power play overs, but then I mean, from that 6, you're giving 2 of those overs to the bowling team to decide when to take. So quickly, for example, there is a couple of quick wickets. A bowling team decides to take it then, power play.
Yeah.
Right. So I think you will empower the bowling side then. But if you're giving those 2 overs again the choice of taking whenever they want to, that
To the batting
choice to the
team.
batting unit, then I think that again you taking something away from the bowlers further. So the substitute, the running substitute like we have in hockey for that matter, in
Rotating
other
substitutions.
rotating substitution. In basketball, you have that. I don't know about the Australian sports. You know
So
better than me.
they call it interchanges. So like
Okay.
they're allowed.
So
So
that makes sense.
in a game of four quarters, they're allowed 90 interchanges. So
Yeah.
you
I mean
can,
the new EPL format is also something like that. You
yeah.
have 7 substitutes, but in 3 batches. NBA, yeah, NBA is a Anbuddin cow. Okay. Anbuddin has mentioned NBA. Yes, in NBA you have that free flowing rotation and all that. I think that makes sense. I take your point. I take your point about the bowlers being fresh. And there, for example, you might have a bowler, let's say a spinner, who'd bowl 4 overs at a stretch, and then he's out, and he might
Yeah.
not be the best fielder. So in a way, you actually giving more protection to the bowler. You're allowing the fielding team to get their best fielders on the field.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you said 5 subs in the field. Are you sure it's 5
It's five.
subs?
It's five subs. It's five
Five,
subs.
not 7. All right, 5
No, no,
subs
not
in.
five.
It's all right.
I think.
Even.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe you're allowed to name some. So I think talking about this fielding thing, I'm sure 2 captains will absolutely love it. Dhoni for that matter, who never picked bad fielders, and Kohli, who places a lot of emphasis on fielding. So I'm sure these 2 captains will absolutely love this rule. If at all these rules come up in IPL, they'll
Yeah.
revel in it.
Yeah. I mean, that can be a good one. See, my point is T20 at this point is a little too heavily loaded towards the batsman, right? So if there can be anything and minor things like this, allowing the best fielders to be on the field, irrespective they're playing in the 11 or not.
Yeah.
Things like that will help the bowlers, which will give more protection to the bowlers. I think that would make sense. Anything to help the bowlers. And again, I think I've mentioned this before, and you know it. I rather watch a 160 game than a 200 game.
Yeah. I mean, I would even say 140 is 140 totals. 140 games most often give you the best games. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, you're always in the game, right? I mean, irrespective, I mean, obviously 140, 150, that means there'll be something for the bowlers. Predominantly would be the spinners. And then, yeah, irrespective if even if you've given 40 in the first six, there's always a chance of you coming back into the game. Or even if you've lost 2, 3 early wickets, you're chasing 140, 50, you can always get back. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last big rule in that in the BBL set of changes was the draft. So till now they had fixed salary caps, and they could just straight away talk to the player, sign whoever they want. Draft. I'm guessing if it's going to be a draft, so then it will be the team finishing first in the previous season will get to choose first. So there is
No, it's the other way around. So the team coming first will get to choose
Yeah,
last.
correct.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
reverse the thing. So
yeah, the
that makes
weakest
sense.
get.
So
Yeah.
that makes sense in the sense, in the long run, then what you will have more. I mean, you'll get an equal sides. So
Level
somebody's
playing
come.
field. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he'll get the first preference, and that would make more sense because you want the last team to be competitive enough. So the first choice goes to him to get the best player that he wants and he thinks he needs for his side. I think the draft system makes a lot of sense. I know
Yeah.
the auction as far as IPL is concerned is it's amazing to watch. I mean
Yeah.
it's
I mean, the
it's
auction is a separate skill in itself, if you ask me.
yeah,
I mean, it's a.
that's absolutely. And anyone who's been part of that auction table will tell you. I mean it's a totally different feeling altogether. I mean when you're
Yeah,
sitting
and
there.
the tension that you have is it's something else. It's just
Oh
like yeah. So England, from a 55-man squad for the entire summer, they've named a 30-man squad for the Test matches alone. There are about
yeah,
8 uncapped players in that. So
yeah.
most of the players who did well in the Australia A tour have been part of it. So yeah, Joe
Yes,
Root captain.
because obviously, I mean, looking from a selector's point of view, you have to fall back on the last possible places. I mean, last cricket that they've played, which has been the A series or the last season. So I'm sure they don't. I mean, that's all they have to go by as of now. So I think, yeah, I guess that is something that we were expecting anyways, as in more players because those players will be put together.
Yeah.
They'll stay together and all that stuff. It's going to be interesting. To be very honest, it's going to be interesting. And remember, we were talking about empty stadiums. So watching the PL game, so they had the virtual ambience, right, from the PA systems and all that stuff, and I liked it. You obviously it's not as same as having people in the stands, but the
Yeah.
noise and everything else. And this is what I was thinking about is you have your DJ, right? As a home team, you have your DJ, and you also have an away DJ. So the home DJ supports their 10 PA systems. So the home team has 8 speakers and the away team has 2, obviously, for obvious reasons. And then obviously you have different stuff, in terms of, shouting, cheering, and you have your anthems. So they play accordingly, depending on the mood of the game. And Anpud has come up with this question, guys, a class act when
Alex Hales.
But
Don't think. Yeah.
yeah, but should I quickly can I answer that?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So I agree. I completely agree with obviously him when he says he's a class act. I'm not going to take that away. Yes, he's a class act, but I also completely agree with Morgan when he says he's let his team down, right? Because this was not the first time that he's been caught doing what he was caught. This is the second time he's been caught doing that. While he was picked for the World Cup side, you got to understand, he knowingly did what he did, realizing that what he's doing is illegal. He's been warned once before. This was the second time, and that the World Cup was 10 days or 15 days away when he did it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can't sacrifice or take those things and your team before the creation, yeah, so if you can't keep your team first and you can't think about your team, then unfortunately for me, I don't care how talented you are. If your team doesn't come first and you're letting your team down like that, I'm going to go with Morgan because you're setting the wrong example then. It's not just about Alex Hales. Tomorrow, anyone can come and say, you know what, a big deal here. You didn't do anything to Alex Hales. Why are you doing it to me now then? So I think setting the right precedent is extremely important for something as serious as this. It's not just about, recreational drugs and all. It's about when, how, whether he was aware or not. So I think there's more to it.
Yeah. So that's one. And
beginning to be happy about it.
Yeah, I think there's lots of fights going on. Even Pakistan, who are scheduled to tour next after West Indies, they have come up with a 29-man squad. There have been 3 people pulling out, but not for these reasons, but for personal reasons. Even that has to be clarified.
Then people will know for what reasons.
Yeah. So even that has to be clarified these days. That's when it comes to that. That's what it is when it comes to.
But it's also important to discuss that recently, I think as recent as the month of May, they came out with the list of contracted players.
England.
So Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Right.
Correct.
Pakistan came out with a list of contracted players. They don't have some big names. People who said they're not going to play test matches. So Amir, Wahab, Riaz, they are not part of the list of contracted players. I think they've been very, very smart at that.
Yeah.
They said, you don't want to play test cricket, you want to manage your workload and all, fair enough. But if that's your stand, our stand is this, that you don't get a contract and we don't look after you like we look after the other players. So I think that's been very, very smart as far as Pakistan is concerned, trying to, because again, setting a precedent. If Amir at the age of 26 can say, you know what, I'm not going to play test match cricket because of workload. Dude, I mean, what's stopping from, say, a Hasnain or Nadeem Shah saying in 2 years' time, you know what, I think I'm going to make a lot of money playing T20. I don't want to play test match. Yeah. So I think that's a job well done. And suddenly, Wahab Riaz is saying, I want to play test cricket.
Because he's not getting a central contract.
Yeah. So now he's saying, I want to play test cricket. So I think that's a good way to go about and get people on track, players on track. Sorry.
We forgot to mention one thing when we were talking about 3TC. I saw a lot of comments. So one of the biggest news is A.B. de Villiers has come back and he's captaining one of the teams. Sorry, we forgot to mention that.
It was always on the cards when Boucher came back, when Sati came back, because there was a reason why ABD retired. Right? It wasn't because he did not want to play or he was tired or something. It was more off the field stuff than on the field stuff. More cricketing reasons than cricketing reasons. So I think it was always on the cards when Boucher came back and Smith is now the director of cricket there. So I won't be surprised. He hasn't still said that he's going to be back for national duty as yet, but I will not be surprised if he says so.
Yeah, and maybe who knows? Maybe come back and captain too.
I mean, they've named Dean Elgar as their test captain. Surprisingly, he's not there in any of those teams, and they said that they did not consider him in any of those teams for the 3. And obviously, you've got Deacock, who's captaining the white ball side.
That's and the next news. I'm not sure how this is going to be taken in several quarters. So, Sreesanth has been named in the Kerala team again.
Squad, I believe.
Yeah.
Listen, my point is, you've served your time, right? And that's that. I mean, obviously, I have my own way to look at things, but as far as how the rule and the law stands, he served his time. He was banned for a certain period of time. Then the court came in the picture, overruled it, and legally he can. So why not? So my issue is not that. My issue is whether we need to change the rules or not. That's more important.
Yeah. That's what it do.
Anything like that should be. Again, I don't know the details of this particular case, so I'm not talking about this particular case. But I think an incident like this should be made a criminal offense.
Interesting take. Yeah, but I think there are a lot of people who share your opinion, saying like it's not. It's you've let down a lot of people, not just
Yeah,
the
I
team.
mean,
It's
most importantly, see, the biggest stakeholder in any sport are the fans, right? That's the biggest stakeholder. I mean, end of the day, it's because of the fans we are who we are, or the sport is what it is. And if you're letting the biggest stakeholder, I mean, you should be penalized, and that's as simple as that.
Interesting take. Deep, I think that's all we have for news this week. There have been a couple of other passing comments, but I don't think we want to pick up on comments and then speak about it. But yeah, that's about it for this.
Tamil as well. I saw some Tamil as well. So Adi, you teach me some Tamil, so I can read. I don't know whether that gentleman is abusing me or not.
No, they're not abusing. I saw that comment in Tamil, so they're enjoying the live session. So yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, in the past videos we've seen a lot of Bengali comments too. So it's okay.
Yeah, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
Anbudin had mentioned, and I completely agree with him. I completely agree with him. Sreesanth, as a talent, I'm telling you, if he had got his act together, he was a world beater, man. You would have, by now, if he got his, again, act and mind and everything together, you would be comparing him with the likes of maybe Anderson or Dale Steyn. This is how good he was.
Yeah, the South Africa 2006.
140 plus and can pitch it up and get the ball to swing, right? Swing both ways. I mean, and that's the reason I'm so angry on someone like him, that you wasted that bloody talent, which is, that's frustrating. That is frustrating.
The South Africa 2006 and the England 2007, where he was
140 plus, pitching it towards the batsman, half volleys, right? Most of the 140 plus are back of length, right? Because naturally, most of these guys are hit the deck bowler. The reason why Dale Steyn is Dale Steyn, because, and all these top guys, or Brentley, because they would bowl at 140, 145 and would had the ability to pitch it up and swing the ball, right? I mean, 140, 145 is, as it is tough, but when it starts swinging, you know how, I mean, you can imagine how tough it can be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he had that in him. And yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it just happened. You can't change it. You can't change it. I can't change it. Yeah. Yeah. So anything interesting that IPL tentative windows has been announced? So that's something which is.
And a lot of not whisper, but a lot of people talking about other things, because a lot of things are interdependent now. For example, the World Cup and the IPL. Even though both can happen simultaneously, but still, I mean, for a bigger window or a better window or whatever, some things need to give way. And what we're hearing, and which is a fact, to be honest, even though Australia seems to be in a better position, much better than most of the other countries in the world in terms of COVID-19 situation, but to handle 16 teams is a different ball game altogether, and whether they're ready to do it or not, it's something that they're still thinking. And a lot of people have come out and said the same thing, has shared the same sentiment, saying it's going to be tough. So if IPL has to happen, which I think it will happen again, irrespective of whether World Cup happens or not, I think then it becomes a better window, a bigger window that way. The schedule is not cramped then. So there are a lot of things still happening right now, and that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's still.
So, and the thing is, I think the window that they've announced, and if you look at that in conjunction with Cricket Australia announcing the series, the schedule for the Test series, there's literally no time between the two to have a World Cup. So it's sort of, it's almost off.
So the dates that has come out are not from official sources. I know you and I, we've got those dates and all that, but I will still hold on to it. Okay, I will still keep it in the realm of speculation as of now. But yes, I mean, if it's out, obviously I mean, if there is smoke, there would be fire as well. So there is no smoke without fire. So
Yeah.
there are obviously checks, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But most importantly, there are a lot of important people talking about how it will be difficult to hold a World Cup, and rightly so, according to me. I mean,
Yeah.
just because Australia is in a good situation does not mean that it will
No.
be like that. They would
Like,
want 16 different, or rather 15 other countries coming in, and maybe even one guy comes in with that, and it's a tough call. It's a very, very tough call.
yeah, and we're hearing that again. It's all rumors, but we're hearing that IPL could happen outside of India too. I mean, maybe in Sri Lanka. Who knows? So
Yeah, those things I've heard as well. Obviously, outside India, in Sri Lanka, in the Middle East. Yeah, all that is possible. Then again, we'll have to see, because like we've discussed before, I don't see IPL happening in 8 venues, 12 venues like it used to happen. It's going to be down to 4, 5 venues, 3 venues, and for
and
that to happen.
most importantly, you might have to stay away from metro venues.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but we'll see, how things pan out, Adi. I think this month and the month of July are very, very critical. We've already seen the numbers going up, right? There's a spike in that curve, and that's on expected lines. I mean, we all knew that as soon as the lockdown will open up in whatever way, there will be a spike. So I think everyone was expecting it. But all that should start to flatten out sometime in the next couple of weeks, is what I gather. And then I think, to be very honest, I think those dates and all, July would be a good indicator in terms of when things can start.
Yeah, hopefully. The next time we do the episode, we will probably be only 10 days away from live cricket, or 10 or 12 days. So there's something to look forward to.
To watch EPL last night, man. I was so excited to watch it, and I can't wait for live cricket to start.
Yeah. So I think we will be doing probably our next show on 24th, which is 24th. So we'll be 3 days or 4 days away from 3TC. So we'll probably be able to discuss a lot more about 3TC next week.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do that.
Yeah. Done.
Right. All right. Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks all of you, and thanks, Adi.
Yeah. Thanks, Veep.
I'll be doing a deep point in Hindi tomorrow. The video will be up, and we'll be talking about almost the same things, and
we've been expecting since yesterday, Deep. Come on, please. Buckle up.
Too lazy, man. Too lazy because I've been working on another project which will be out tomorrow on a show called Cricket Bazi on ESPN Cricket Info.
Lovely.
I think the promo is already out today. And yeah, so the whole thing will be out tomorrow, and that's what. Right. So we'll see you soon, and we'll see you all you guys soon as well. Take care. Stay safe. And see you soon.
See you, Deep.